So here at the end of our session, I want to do a little more interactive kind of a thing, but let's talk about how do we set up that climate of academic integrity. We started out by all of the scare the heck out of us, let's catch cheaters kind of stuff. You know, sound-alikes and the file with the comma to beat the deadline like we were talking about there, going Google fishing on things. These are all strategies that we use to react to when cheating happens. Let's talk about how, as individuals and as a campus, we can work to create that climate of academic integrity. First, here are some campus-wide practices. So we have an associate provost in the room, so this would be an awesome thing to talk to your senior leaders about at your institution. And you're at West Georgia Tech? Mm-hmm. Awesome. So we even have some visitors in the room, so this is cool. Have an academic integrity policy that is campus-wide. And I did my research, and I actually wasn't able to find one that's campus-wide for UWG. I saw a bunch of them at the level of departments and in some cases at the level of colleges. Have consistent definitions and penalties that are institution-wide. Again, I saw some of these at the level of colleges, and that's an awesome way to go. But make sure that if a student gets caught plagiarizing in an English 101 course, that the process and the penalties are the same as if a student gets caught being academically dishonest in a graduate business course. The same across the board. This is where, if you're in your faculty senate meetings, this is a good topic to bring up. It will be a topic that is somewhat contentious because you'll see that lots of people have different definitions of originality, different criteria, and so on. But there are a number of places, these ones are from the University of Kentucky, and they have, across the board, policies and penalties and a process that people go through that is agreeable to their entire university. Have input from all of your campus stakeholders, so make sure that when you're creating those policies and procedures that it's not just the faculty senate, but all of your support staffers who help you design your online courses have a say in that. Get students who are representatives of all the different levels and colleges that you teach in and ask them to help you design academic integrity strategies. Especially the students who are up on the we are always your good students side of the scale, this majority, they will tell you how much it pains them to have people cheating in the same courses because it brings their reputations down. And they will be your best advocates for working to get policies and procedures. And I'm not sure, but I think the people who are winking are the sort of secret customers on this design here. Have regular communication among faculty who teach the same students. I actually did this when I was in K-12. I taught at a high school where the English teacher, the math teacher, the social studies teacher, and the science teacher, we would get together for lunch once every 2 weeks and just talk about the students whom we all saw in the same grade. And we would say, hey, you know, so-and-so is really struggling, and I saw this person looking over and cheating on a test. Suddenly the math teacher would say, yeah, I saw that too. It's the same student. Or no, that's an isolated incident. It's obvious that this person is a genius at math and just can't write. And that helped us to not only feel like it was just us and the students individually, but it also helped us to create ways that we could address systemically. You know, the Pareto principle that you spend 80% of your time on 20% of your problems. This allowed us to take that and really narrow it in and have that wider conversation. So at your faculty meetings, they're usually pretty jam-packed full of stuff already. It's useful to spend 10 minutes talking about who are your stars, who are the students who deserve extra credit recognition awards, those kinds of things, and who are your stumblers? Who are the ones who, all the people who are teaching that person, we agree, this person needs some more help or a change of attitude or at least a conversation. And then you draw straws to see who actually talks to that person. So, have an academic integrity reporting and review board. This is something that we just recently instituted at our place, and it's helped immensely, because this is a review board of current students and current faculty members. And they hear, and here's the flip, they not only hear all of the academic integrity problem cases, but it's also the same board that votes and decides on faculty and student honors and awards. If they get to hear the junk, they get to hear the good stuff too and have a voice in that. And that's why faculty members and students signed up for it. Not because they felt, oh, I'm honor bound to weed out cheating at our university. They wanted to help give out the awards. And so having that review board see a problem case and then see a positive case. A problem case, a positive case. And having that balance really has helped to get faculty buy-in at our institution and to get students to see that it's important to us. Because the same students who are saying, hey, stop cheating, are saying, by the way, we're awarding you this money, this certificate, this scholarship, this, that, the other. And now, course-specific practices. This is where I want to sort of hone in on what we can do as individuals. Know your students. One of the first things we talked about was, and I think it was Wendy who said, make sure that you know your students' voices so that if they suddenly start sounding like somebody who's writing at a higher level or is not sounding like themselves, you'll catch that. For those of you who teach in larger sections, it can be more difficult to do this. Janet has a fantastic practice from her courses that she uses when she has students introduce themselves.
Oh, I'll just make a cheat sheet. Is that what you
Don't
mean?
use the word cheat sheet in this session.
Oh.
Janet makes a sheet. Go ahead, tell us what you do.
Oh, I just pull out a couple of things to remind me of who they are as a person. If they're a mother of three, if they're, an active military, if they're first timers, make a little note.
And having that piece of paper or that Word document later on in the course, if you see a discussion posting from somebody or something they turn into the Dropbox, a submission for your class, go back to that, cheat sheet that you've created on your class and go look at that person's name and look at the identifying information that you wrote down, right? This is one of the reasons how I can remember people's names when I just meet them. Renard, you made it easy on me. He's wearing an orange sweater with a green scarf. He's real put together. He's looking real sharp. I will always remember Renard because he looks foxy today. And Renard the fox from the fables and so on. And that's a lovely shade of red on your face too. It's awesome. I'm sorry, I embarrassed Renard a little bit. But knowing your students and having those little mental hooks to hang information on. In an online course, what's the #1 predictor of student retention? How often the faculty member uses the student's name. #1. If you send feedback to a student and it says, dear student, thank you very much for this, and there's a rubric attached, they'll be out the door.
It's also important that you go by their second name, but you better use the second name and not the one that pops up.
Yeah. So there's, I have James Alexander Johansson in my class, and he goes by Alex. But in the learning management system, it says James Johansson. And so I have to remember to call him Alex.
But there's only one of us, and they can't ever spell our name right, or we can put a proper salutation at the proper name.
I have to take a moment here. This is my name. 8 letters, right? Now my students can't spell it, but the very best misspelling. When we call for pizza, we go to Anthony's Pizza on Lake Street in Chicago.
We should hear about that. That's probably way too
It's-
big.
I'm from New York. Chicago pizza is not my thing.
No.
I order New York style, and they cut it into squares instead of pie wedges. I don't get that. Okay, but that's too far afield for what we're doing here. But this is my name, right? And I get little postcards if I don't order a pizza in a while from Anthony's Pizza. It says, we've missed you. Here are some coupons. Get a large pie and some chicken wings and a bottle of pop soda down here for a certain price. And you know who it's addressed to? Tomo Tobin. So I keep telling my wife, one of these days I'm going to call up and I'm going to say, I'd like to order pizza, please. And they're going to say, yes, who is it? And I'm going to say, this is Tomo Tobin. Right? But again, using your name, right? It's funny because it's just my pizza joint. But if the pizza joint ever got my name right, I'd be like, yes, they used my name. I'm going to be with you forever. And Beth, you had one, and then maybe you had one.
I remember asking a student, well, what's the faculty member's name? I think it's staff.
Oh, or TBD. Yeah, what does TBD stand for? Nina, you were going to say it, then Jen.
Yeah, actually I have two things. One is sometimes getting to know your students can also help you to see if they are actually cheating. I had a student who told me at the beginning of the online class that that was his 50th birthday that year and that they were going to go for a cruise.
Okay.
And this was in the middle of the term. So she went to cruise apparently, and then she sends me a doctor's excuse saying that she was out. And I'm comparing the dates. I know exactly when she was going to cruise. So sometimes getting too much information may not be good for us.
Or good for them.
And in terms of names, I'm just going to try to help you feel better. If you have a name like mine, you will get...
Please share your name with everybody here.
My name is Nihal Gunai, and I never see that it is pronounced or written correctly in any place.
In fact, I don't think I've been pronouncing it correctly. That's why I asked again.
You
So,
are not. That's okay. I decided I will respond to anything that sounds like it.
well, and it is Nihal.
Nihal.
Nihal. I got it. Awesome. I'm never going to mispronounce it today. And maybe tomorrow, please help me. But Janet, you want to
We
come
just
in?
had a student calling, struggling in a class, and it was like almost the end of the term, and he hadn't logged in the whole term, but he said, I need help getting my course. Well, what's the name of your course? I don't know. Well, what does it start with? Like, is it like accounting, ACCT? I don't know. I think it's in business. Okay, that narrows it down. We go through this for 10 minutes, and then the name of your instructor, I don't know. I think, anything about him. I think he's like really important on campus.
Well, at least that's true, right?
Long story short, it was President Sethna.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That actually puts an underline under some of these academic integrity. But, you know, if your students don't know who you are, and you're not reaching out to them and making that connection, there's an opportunity there for them not to treat the course very seriously or know where they're going. Also, if you model correct and incorrect practices, so if in your courses you put in a whole bunch of videos and images, but you don't cite where they're from, this is a do as I say, not as I do moment, and that's a bad thing for students. You know, learn about copyright, fair use, those kinds of things. And that's a session that I could have offered, but it's not on the menu these days, but I can point you to a number of good resources in that. And, you know, if you're modeling, just at least using things the way you want them to be used. Adopt universal design for learning. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. There's going to be a whole big session, 2-hour session on this tomorrow, so I'd encourage you to come. By the way, if you attend that one, you're eligible for the prize drawing. And so, but universal design for learning just means that we're designing for the vast majority of students. If you've heard about this, you've probably heard it in the context of working with students with disabilities. It's much more than that. Universal design for learning allows us to reach out to students on their mobile devices. Reach out to students who are studying after they've put the kids to bed. There's a number of different things. We'll go into that a little bit more. Randomize your assessments, use question pools, and rotate your assessments. This one is a no-brainer, but it is actually asking you to do a significant amount of work. So this one, when I work with faculty members in my institution, I say, if you're going to give multiple choice tests, if you're going to give objective tests, at least raise the bar on your cheaters. So that if they whip out their phones and call their friends and they say, what did you get for number 4? And they say, B, that your number 4 isn't even my number 4. Build a library from former students. Finally, we come back. Mary Beth. If you collect documents that your former students have given to you, you can keep them just in a folder on your computer. What I typically do is at the end of a semester, if I've got all of my students' work and I've got it all lined up on my computer, I will spend half an hour, and it is half an hour extremely well spent. I have, for each class, I have one master Microsoft Word document or PowerPoint document, depending on the format that I ask students to send it in, or Excel file, or whatever it is. And I open each of my students' assignments for that assignment. I copy and I paste it into the blank one underneath the last student, underneath the last student, underneath the last student. So I make this massive Frankenstein's monster of all of my students' papers. If I need to check to see if a student has sent something in to me this semester that's the same as 3 semesters ago, I have my Frankenstein's monster document for that assignment. It took me a half an hour to build it for each time students send it in, and I add to it every semester. But all I do is I take 1 or 2 sentences and I go in and go find. And it'll show me right there, whether it was 2 years ago, last semester, what happened. It does take more effort and more work, and I'm here to tell you that my cheaters, that's my hammer. That is absolutely my hammer. It is my own Turnitin, and it's specific to my course. David?
Just a suggestion. I think you could do something similar without quite as much work by just making a folder in your Google Drive and putting all of those files in there. Because
Oh, and then you can search in Google Drive.
It's going to search inside all of the files. You don't have to make one monster file.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am changing my slide the next time I do this one. That is an awesome suggestion.
Because it'll search through them all. You don't have
Yeah,
to
you'll do a grep search through all of your files. Fantastic.
That's why I'm here.
That'd be next time.
I'm charging all those half hours to you now. This is great. So what kinds of these strategies are going to go into your academic integrity toolkit? What kinds of things are you taking away from our time today? We've got a few minutes left here. I want to see what sparks for you. What will you remember after you leave today?
How to cheat. I got to figure it out.
Well, actually, it's a really good idea for us to know some of the methods that students can use. Because as we know more about them, we can sort of laughingly say, oh yeah, and by the way, don't do that. I know that you do that.
It's kind of the theory that the crooks make the best cops. You know, if you know how to break in a house, you also know how they broke in the house. So there's a lot of truth. I mean, if you don't know how to cheat, then you don't know how to stop cheating.
Absolutely. Wait, are you calling me a crook?
Well,
I'm a happy crook in this case. That's
yeah,
awesome.
you're doing fine. You've been converted.
Yep, no doubt. What else are you folks going to take away?
I think if they feel that they know you a little bit better by putting yourself out there, they're probably less likely to cheat.
Yeah, absolutely. Instructor presence counts for an awful lot, and communicating your own expectations to them means that they're more likely to follow those expectations.
It was a lot easier in a face-to-face environment for your personality to come through, and I was very nervous when I switched from face-to-face to online because I didn't think that part was going to come through. But, you know, getting all kinds of new ideas from colleagues and from these awesome people that work with us on a daily basis and on how to do it. You know, you can actually get your persona out there so that they know who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Put those videos out there. Have, you know, short conversations about things that are tangential to the course. What other things are people going to take away?
I think the modeling, I mean, all the PowerPoints, you know, I mean, I'll adapt them when I was teaching to, you know, that you get from the publisher, you know, and I change them up and stuff like that, and just sort of use them to keep me on track in class for my digressions. But there are no references on there, none whatsoever.
You know why? Because the publishers have already licensed the material.
Well, right, but the students then have no example about what an academic level PowerPoint would look like.
And it's really
And so
helpful.
I'll just go in and put them in.
Yeah, well, it's really helpful even to put together a 3 or 4 slide PowerPoint intro that is yours, even if you're using publisher material, so that you can focus students in, and even to say, when you view the next PowerPoint, focus on these things. And then you have that opportunity there. And then Phyllis?
Yeah, I like the trust process. It may probably take a long time to build it in an online classroom settings, but it may be worth the time and the effort. And it reminds them each time they are doing something, they have to be honest.
Yeah.
What a great gift to give anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it builds what Jeremy Bentham was thinking his students in 1783 lacked, was that moral fiber.
Yeah.
So, Phyllis?
This is really the same thing, but maybe just a step farther. The the trust issue is paramount, but even a step beyond that is for students to know that you care. If they know that you care and you keep up with somebody's just had a root canal done and you next week say, how's your mouth doing? Just little things like that build those connections that they're going to be much less likely to cheat if they think not only do you trust them, but you care about them.
And that really builds on something that I heard when I talked with a few faculty members before I came here, just to get a sense of University of West Georgia. Every single person said, you have the reputation here as a high-touch campus. Students get to know their professors, professors know their students, they're supportive of their students, and the relationships that you build with students last far beyond the classroom. You know, you see your students getting jobs, you see alumni helping to hire students who are coming out of your programs. And those relationships are what the university is known for. So when you're teaching an online course, that really helps. And we do it face-to-face, so there's ways to do it online. So here we go. We got a couple seconds left. Be an expert in 3 steps. Here's the first one. Define a core group of ethical ideas. So here are some principles of academic integrity for faculty. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. This is from McCabe and Pavella. I'll let you look at it on your own time. I just want to look at 2 things here. Encourage student responsibility for academic integrity. Let them know it's important. Develop fair and creative forms of assessment. Make sure that you're actually asking students to demonstrate things in an authentic way. And help define and support campus-wide academic integrity strategies. Second step, put policies and practices in place that are, at the very least, college-wide. I hope that if you're a member of your faculty senate or you have access to those folks, tell them this is a conversation that you want to have on your campus because it's going to help make processes be understandable across the whole institution and create that campus culture. Celebrate integrity. Make it so that this is the expected thing to do. And I see a lot of heads nodding because you're probably already doing this at a micro level and maybe at the level of your department or your college. So it's something to continue, foster, and grow. So, we talked about what are those takeaways, what will you take away from our time today. We've had that conversation here. So I'll say thank you now, and thank you very much for this session. I look forward to seeing you in some more.